the silicon battle, and this definitely is relevant for cryptocurrency miners in general, is heating up, and it's heating up to the point to where now we are seeing the US government restricting shipments of RTX 4090s to China. Now, we've talked about in the past, of course, the AI level GPUs getting restricted for shipment to China, but this also brings up another big issue in the fact that a lot of the manufacturing for these particular GPUs are done in China. And so if you are trying to restrict the shipment of the product from the US to China, but then expecting Chinese companies to manufacture this equipment and ship them to the US, well, obviously we're in a pickle here. But it says these are too powerful to be shipped to China without a license. Under the terms of the latest export rules imposed by the US government, AMD, Intel, and Nvidia can no longer ship a number of their high-performance processors to China and a number of other countries without an export license from the US Department of Commerce. In fact, the restrictions are so severe that shipments of Nvidia's 8102 processors are also restricted, which may have an impact on the supply of GeForce RTX 4090 graphics cards. Given the demand for NVIDIA's AI GPUs across the globe, the company does not expect its financial results in the near term to be affected by the new export rules. Meanwhile, it remains to be seen how these new export rules affect the production and prices of the RTX 4090 based graphics card, which are generally made in China. In a bid to comply with the new export rules, NVIDIA will have to initiate production of GeForce RTX 4090 and other 8102 based products outside of China. So it does sound like NVIDIA is also being required to move manufacturing outside of China too. This might bring everything to a head revolving around, the Chinese government and Taiwan, which would be really interesting if a lot of this moves into being headquartered in Taiwan, which apparently is the case if I read the next paragraph here. Transferring production to Taiwan is perhaps not a problem for the vast majority of brands, as the most of them are headquartered in Taiwan. There is one big exception though. Colorful, which is one of NVIDIA's major customers and which happens to be one of the world's largest graphics card manufacturers, only operates in China. But we have the other issue here. If we are talking about the contention of basically Taiwan being a country, remember them making John Cena basically apologize for calling Taiwan a country. I think that's what it was, plus a few others. Plus, remember, they banned that Hearthstone player for basically saying, free Hong Kong, all this type of stuff where the Chinese government is basically trying to already lay claim to Taiwan. If you move production over there and you stop the shipment of the RTX cards to China, that's just going to make the Chinese government all that more basically incentivized to further kind of put a grasp over Taiwan. And with basically, all these outbreaks in already with, Ukraine and Russia, Israel, and then you add this on, man, this starts to look a little creepy in my humble opinion, because we're having basically, like I've said before, a silicon war with China, and they already consider Taiwan a part of China. So just moving the production to Taiwan, in my humble opinion, isn't going to solve any of this. In fact, it's going to make things worse, if you had to ask me. That being said, Colorful is obviously already a huge operator in China. NVIDIA may attempt to supply as many 8102 GPUs to its partner as possible in the coming weeks, though it remains to be seen how this affects the supply of the RTX 4090 products in other countries. Starting from November 16 of 2023, NVIDIA will be unable to ship its A100, A800, H100, H800, L40 and 40S, and the 4090 cards and modules for AI and high-powered computing to China, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates, and Vietnam without an export license from the US Department of Commerce's Bureau of Industry and Security. All of the aforementioned products, except for the 4090, are data center GPUs for AI and high-powered computing. The GeForce RTX 4090 is the best graphics card money can buy, assuming price isn't a limiting factor. But since the new restrictions curb exports of high-performance processors in general, it falls under the new regulations. Quote, the licensing requirement may impact the company's ability to complete developments of products in a timely manner, support existing customers of covered products, or supply customers of covered products outside the impacted regions, and may require the company to transition certain operations out of one or more of the identified countries, a statement by NVIDIA in its filing with the SEC reads. Now, in my humble opinion, like I've always stated before, HODL silicon, and I think this is going to be extremely relevant now with all of this going on. Shortages are already kind of happening because of AI. We haven't seen new GPU prices really drop that much outside of some outliers like the Intel Arc series. Pretty much on both the AMD side and the NVIDIA side, the high-end GPUs have extremely high price tags that are reminiscent of the previous two crypto bull runs. And we're in a bear market. And this is primarily due to the fact that we have the rise in AI. And once we start seeing these kind of limitations being put into place, manufacturing will be impacted, shipment will be impacted in general. And I think at the end of the day, I'm happy to hold all of my video cards and all of my silicon that I possibly can. It'll be interesting to see if this impacts, of course, the ASIC side of things as well. Really, ASICs have been the best inlet into cryptocurrency mining, I think, over the past year or so for accumulation purposes, because as opposed to GPUs that have only seen a slight drop in price really overall, we've seen basically ASICs drop 10x, right? They're a tenth of the price that they used to be. And that is why I've really shifted a lot of my investments over every other time in a cycle. I've just heavily invested in GPUs. But because of the kind of huge price swing, the cryptocurrency mining investment side of things from that perspective, the opportunity has been on the ASICs, not necessarily on the GPU side of things. I was hoping that I was going to see the GPU prices really start to take a dump and really be able to invest in like another 200 to 600 amps of GPUs before the next bull run. But I don't see that. I don't foresee that happening right now, especially with these things coming out more and more. I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions, of course, in the comment section. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. You can check out the full episode here or more crypto content down here. Also, I'd like you to check out my locals page at sonofatech.locals.com, where you can become a member for free or choose to be a $5 a month supporter that unlocks additional content.